Assalamualaikum everyone. I hope you are doing well. Today I'm here with another interesting interview. In this video, I will share what this topic is about and what important lessons I learned. I hope you will find them informative and inspiring. So let's begin.
Hi, how's it going?
You. Hello Maya, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. It's been a bit since we've chatted. What's been on your mind lately?
Fine, Maya. So today I will be asking some questions. Will you answer them?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Maya, today's topic is climate change and substantially talk about environmental. So Maya, my first question is my first question is wait. My first question is what is climate change and why
Okay.
is it global problems?
Climate change is basically this massive shift in Earth's typical weather patterns, things like temperature, rainfall, wind patterns that are happening at an unusually rapid pace. And yeah, it's a global problem because it doesn't respect borders. What happens one part of the world impacts others. For example, melting glaciers raise sea levels that affect coastal cities everywhere. Greenhouse gas emissions from industrialized countries can contribute to extreme weather events in developing nations. It's really all interconnected. Do you want me to dive deeper into the causes or impacts?
The second question is what are the main causes of climate change?
The biggest driver is burning fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas for energy. It's that releases greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. Heat and warming the planet. Deforestation also plays a big role because trees absorb carbon dioxide. When we cut them down, that carbon gets released back into the atmosphere. And there are other contributors like agriculture and industrial processes that also, emit greenhouse gases. Make sense so far? Okay, take your time. I'll be here when you get back.
The second question is third question, how do human activities contribute to climate change?
Basically, all of our daily stuff ends up adding to it. Using electricity generated from fossil fuels, driving cars, flying, even eating certain foods, all these things release greenhouse gases. Industrial processes like manufacturing also pump pollutants into the air. Overconsumption in general, the more we buy and throw away, the more resources need to be extracted and processed, creating more emissions. It's kind of a tangled web of activities that accumulate over time. It's not one single big source, it's death by a thousand cuts. Does that make sense?
Question is what are the effects of climate change on our planet?
Well, we're already seeing them everywhere. Rising temperatures mean more heat waves and droughts. Sea levels are rising, threatening coastal communities. We're getting more extreme weather events, stronger hurricanes, more frequent floods, bigger fires, and it's not just weather. It affects ecosystems too. Coral reefs are dying, species are going extinct, and food production is becoming more unstable in certain areas. These effects snowball, for example. Wildfires release tons of carbon into the atmosphere, making climate change worse. pretty sobering stuff,
My
right?
next question is, how is climate change affecting patterns around the world?
Climate change is throwing these patterns into chaos. You're seeing more record breaking heat waves in Europe, longer and harsher droughts in Africa, more intense monsoon seasons in Asia, stronger hurricanes in the Atlantic. Jet streams are shifting, leading to more extreme temperature swings. Traditional seasonal patterns are becoming unpredictable, making farming more challenging and disrupting ecosystems. It's like the whole system is becoming more volatile and less predictable.
Next question is, what is substantially, and why is it important for the future?
Sustainability is essentially meeting our current needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet theirs. Think of it like this: using resources wisely so we don't completely deplete them and screw things up for people down the line. It's about balancing economic growth, social responsibility, and environmental protection. Why is it important? Because without sustainability, we're just kicking the can down the road and leaving a mess for our kids and grandkids to deal with. Climate change is a prime example. If we're not sustainable in how we use energy and manage resources, things are gonna get much, much worse. You're welcome. Glad I could help.
Okay, man. So, man, next question is, how can individuals help reduce climate change?
There's actually a lot individuals can do. Simple stuff like reducing energy consumption, turning off lights, using public transport, walking or biking when you can. Eating less meat also makes a difference. Raising livestock has a big environmental impact. Reducing waste by recycling, composting, and being more mindful of consumption habits. And maybe the biggest one, advocating for change, voting for policies that support climate action, and talking about it with friends and family. Every little bit counts. Does that question, or is there something specific you wanted me to elaborate on? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. What did you want to say? The audio might have cut out there. Right. So basically, every small shift adds up. The supporting businesses committed to sustainability, investing in energy efficient appliances, making your home more energy efficient through insulation or solar panels. These things can make a real difference. It's about thinking longer term when you shop and choose products too, looking for sustainable certifications or brands that transparently explain their environmental impact.
Okay, ma'am. My next question is, how does population affect human health and ecosystem?
Mhm. Population growth puts a huge strain on everything. More people means more demand for food, water, energy, all of which impact ecosystems. Overfishing, deforestation for farmland, pollution from increased consumption, increased habitat loss, these all threaten biodiversity. For human health, it means increased pressure on resources like healthcare, sanitation, and access to clean water, plus increased risk of disease outbreaks when people and wildlife are in closer contact. It's basically a domino effect where more people exacerbate existing problems and create new ones. Want to chat more about a specific aspect of that, or should we move on to another question?
Okay, my next question is what is the importance of planting trees for the environmental?
Trees are basically environmental superheroes. They absorb carbon dioxide, cleaning the air we breathe. They release oxygen. They help regulate water cycles, prevent soil erosion, and provide habitat for countless species. Forests are incredible carbon sinks. They pull carbon out of the atmosphere and lock it up in their wood and soil. That's why reforestation efforts are so important, both for climate change mitigation and for preserving biodiversity. They're like nature's air purifiers and protectors. Sounds like a lot to take in. Makes sense. You're feeling overwhelmed by all this? Totally. It's a heavy topic. Climate change and sustainability can feel pretty daunting when you dig into it. If you want to keep chatting another time, I'm here.
My next question is how
Um,
can recycling help protect the environment?
Recycling helps by reducing the need to extract new raw materials from the earth. That means less deforestation, less mining, and less pollution from manufacturing. It also cuts down on the amount of waste going to landfills, which release greenhouse gases and can contaminate soil and water. Basically, it's a way to close the loop and make more efficient use of what we already have.
Okay, my next question is what are some sustainable habits people can adopt in daily life?
So many small changes add up. Reducing meat consumption, that has a surprisingly big impact. Using reusable bags and water bottles instead of single-use plastics. Lowering your energy usage at home, turning off lights, unplugging electronics, using energy efficient appliances, walking, biking, or public transit instead of driving when possible. Being mindful of your consumption habits, buying less stuff, and choosing products with minimal packaging. They all count. 大丈夫だよ。ゆっくりしてね。
कोई कोई बात नहीं. My next
Take your
question
time.
is how has climate change affect animals and biodiversity?
Could you repeat that? I'm not sure I caught the question clearly. What were you asking about grammar, animals, and badminton? Okay, go ahead with your next question. I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm here. I'm waiting for your next question. What were you saying about continuing?
Question is what are the long-term consequences if climate change is not controlled?
Honestly, they're pretty scary if we don't get this under control. Rising sea levels would displace millions of people, leading to mass migration and conflict. Food production would become unstable as extreme weather disrupts crops. Ecosystems could collapse, causing widespread species. Mm-mm-mm. And freshwater resources would become increasingly scarce in many regions. It's not just about hotter temperatures, it's about all these cascading effects making life much harder for a lot of people. Basically, we'd be looking at mass suffering, political instability, and a degraded planet. No worries, it can get garbled sometimes. Yeah, the transcription can be messy. Technology isn't perfect yet.
Okay, my next question is how can technology help solve environmental problems?
Tech's got some potential. Renewable energy sources like solar and wind are getting cheaper and more efficient. We're seeing innovation in carbon capture technologies to dioxide from the air. Smart grids can optimize energy distribution and reduce waste. And tech helps with monitoring environmental conditions. Satellites track deforestation, sensors measure pollution levels, that kind of thing. AI can optimize resource management too. But tech isn't a silver bullet, and we have to be careful about its unintended consequences.
Okay, my next question is what steps
Gracias.
can schools and communities take to promote sustainability?
That's a little unclear. Could you say that again? I didn't quite catch the beginning, and subscuring sounds a bit garbled. Was that supposed to be sustainability? What steps can schools and communities take to promote sustainability? Okay. What do you need to say? Take your time. Right. Well, schools can integrate environmental education into the curriculum and start gardening programs. Communities could start local composting programs and farmers markets, reducing single use plastic or having community cleanup days, encouraging local governments to invest in renewable energy or transportation. Simple things like that. Educating people, making sustainable choices easy, creating local initiatives. What specifically were you thinking about?
Okay, Maya. So my next question is how can young people contribute to protecting the environment?
Young people have a ton of power, actually. They can make sustainable choices in their own lives, reducing waste, conserving energy, advocating for changes in school or their community. They can get involved in environmental organizations or campaigns. And one of the biggest things they can do is educate their peers and families. They can really push for systemic change by using their voices and demanding action from leaders. Their generation is going to feel the effects of climate change the most, so they're really motivated.
Maya, my next question is
Is that what you
what
want to
message
cover?
would you like to give people about protecting the earth?
I'd say this: we all have a responsibility to take care of this planet. It's the only home we've got. It's not just some abstract environmental problem for scientists to worry about. It impacts everyone, everywhere. Every action, no matter how small, makes a difference. Think about the impact of your choices. Talk to your friends and family. Demand more from your leaders. It won't be easy, but the future is worth fighting for.
Question is my next question is
All right.
what are greenhouse gases and how do they affect the earth?
Greenhouse gases are these gases in the atmosphere that trap heat. Carbon dioxide is the big one, comes from burning fossil fuels. But there's also methane from agriculture and natural gas leaks, nitrous oxide from fertilizers, and even water vapor. They basically act like a blanket around the earth, trapping the sun's energy and warming the planet. The more we pump these gases into the atmosphere, the thicker that blanket gets and the hotter the earth gets. To us of I'm not catching. Thanks. Do you have another question or is there Anything else I can help with? Say as a coming catch that. Are you saying something's coming? Got it. So this is the last question. Oh, sorry, I'm not catching that at all. I think the
Okay,
audio
my
might be
next question
pretty.
is how does deforestation contribute to climate change?
Deforestation actually contributes to climate change in a couple of major ways. First, trees absorb CO2, they're like natural carbon sinks. When we cut down forests, that stored carbon gets released back into the atmosphere. Second, trees help regulate weather patterns and keep water cycles healthy. When forests are gone, it can disrupt those processes too. So it's both a loss of carbon storage and disruption of natural processes. Got it. So that's all your questions then? You covered a lot there. That's great. You really dug deep into a lot of important topics today, from climate change to sustainability to the role of technology.
Okay, my next question is what is global warming and how is it different from climate change?
Okay, so global warming refers specifically to the increase in Earth's average temperature. It's one aspect of climate change. But climate change is a broader concept. It includes shifts in temperature, rainfall patterns, sea levels, and more. So global warming is part of climate change, but climate change is the bigger picture. Does that make sense? Sorry, can you repeat that? I'm not catching what you said clearly.
Okay, ma'am. My next question is how does climate change affect oceans and sea levels?
Well, warmer water expands. That's basic physics. So that alone contributes to sea level rise. But even more dramatically, glaciers and ice sheets are melting at an accelerating rate. That melted ice flows into the ocean, raising sea levels further. The ocean also absorbs a lot of carbon dioxide, which makes it more acidic, harming marine ecosystems like coral reefs. So you get rising sea levels, warmer water, and more acidic water, all happening at once.
Okay, ma'am. My next question is what are the effects of climate change on agriculture and food supply?
Climate change can mess with food production in a bunch of ways. Changing weather patterns lead to droughts in some areas and floods in others, damaging crops. Increased temperatures can reduce yields of major crops like wheat and rice. Extreme weather events like heat waves or intense storms destroy crops directly. Changes in rainfall patterns make it harder to predict when to plant and harvest, disrupting traditional farming cycles. The entire food supply chain gets squeezed. Climate change also increases the risk of pests and diseases affecting crops. And changes in CO2 levels can actually reduce the nutritional value of some crops, even if the yield isn't affected. It's a pretty serious threat to food security for a lot of people. Hi there.
Or my next question is how can reducing plastic use help the environment?
Plastic takes hundreds of years to decompose, so most of it ends up in landfills or polluting our oceans. That plastic breaks down into microplastics that contaminate soil, water, and even the food we eat. Producing plastic also relies on fossil fuels, so reducing plastic usage helps lower carbon emissions. Plus, plastic harms wildlife, animals ingest it or get tangled in it, causing a lot of harm. By reducing our plastic consumption, we can reduce pollution, conserve resources, and protect ecosystems.
Okay, ma'am. Next question and last question is, what step can take today build a more sustainable world?
That's a big question. Ultimately, it comes down to system level changes and individual choices. We need governments and businesses to invest in renewable energy and sustainable practices, policies that encourage conservation and reduce emissions. At the personal level, it's about making conscious choices, reduce your consumption, recycle, support sustainable companies, and advocate for change in your communities. No single step will fix it, but collective action can create lasting change. It's really about reframing how we think about progress and prioritizing the health of the planet over short term profits.
Answers. So next time I'm come and new more questions. Thank you so much, Maya. Bye. Allah Hafiz.
You're so welcome, Aksa. You asked some really thoughtful questions today. I'm happy to help. I look forward to more questions next time. And you're right to say bye. It was great chatting. Take care.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you. So, friends, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching my video. Next time, I will bring more new topics for you all. Thank you so much. Until then, Allah Hafiz.